My neighbor called me in the middle of an important meeting and said, "Hey, I don't want to alarm you, but your husband has been outside doing something to your car for 40 minutes, and I'm pretty sure your baby is inside." I asked her to repeat herself because I was absolutely certain I had misheard, and she said it again, slower this time, and added, "He has a ladder out and he keeps looking at his phone and scribbling in a notebook." I had no idea what that meant, and I didn't have time to ask follow-up questions because I was already gathering my things and apologizing to everyone in the conference room. As I ran out the door, I tried calling my husband 6 times on the drive home, and he didn't pick up once, even though he was clearly on his phone doing something insane. The whole reason he had her in the car was because he was supposed to take her to a daycare. That we had been on a wait list for 7 months to get, and if we missed this appointment, we would lose our spot. I ran 3 red lights on the way there, and the very first thing I saw when I pulled into our apartment complex was my husband crouched by the driver's side door with a notebook in his hand, his phone cropped against the tire, playing a YouTube video at full volume and a 6 feet ladder leaning against the car. He looked up with relief, like I was there to save him. Our daughter was in the back seat, still strapped into her car seat, watching her father like he was the most entertaining thing she had ever seen. "What in the world are you doing?" I asked, and he held up a notebook and said, "I'm learning about the internal pin mechanism of car door locks because I figured once I understand how it works, I can fashion a tool to open it." The notebook had a detailed diagram with labels and arrows and approximately 0 useful information. And when I clicked through the pages, I saw he had taken 3 full pages of notes from a YouTube video that was still laying on his phone. "Why am I hearing about this from our neighbor?" I asked. And he said I didn't want to worry you until I had things under control. I threw my hands up, look around. What part of this looks like things are under control? Our daughter was drinking from a sippy cup and looking perfectly content while her father had apparently decided to earn an engineering degree. In the parking lot, I noticed a mangled wire coat hanger jammed into the space between the window and the door frame. "Did you do?" I asked. And he said I tried to make a Slim Jim, but the hanger got stuck and now the lock mechanism is completely jammed. This man had turned a $40 problem into a $400 problem in under an hour. "What else did you try?" I asked. And he walked me through his process with the confidence of a man describing a complete disaster, starting with how he pressed his face against the window and mouthed, "Push the button" at our 18-month-old for 15 minutes before accepting she didn't understand she's a baby. I yelled. "She doesn't know what a button is," she said. I thought it was worth a shot. I put my hands on my head because I could feel my brain breaking. I pointed at the ladder. "Explain." He said I thought I could get the sunroof open from outside and extract her. "That way we don't have a sunroof," I yelled. And he said, "Yeah, I realized that after I got the ladder. Who are you on the phone with when I pulled up?" I asked because I assumed it was finally a locksmith. And then a man's voice came through his speaker saying, "Remember, the anxiety feel is just energy waiting to be redirected." And I realized he had somehow called a life coach instead and had been reading through his stress response for 10 minutes while our toddler sat in the car. "What is wrong with you?" I asked. "I accidentally clicked the wrong link," he said. I grabbed him by the shoulders. "Why didn't you just call me your wife? The person with a spare key." He wouldn't even look me in the eye. "I figured you were busy and I could handle it myself," he said. "How is any of this handling it?" I asked. "I had it under control before the coat hanger got stuck," he said. "And after the coat hanger got stuck," I asked. "I was working on it." He said calling a life coach is not working on it. I yelled the guy had some really good points about anxiety, he said. I stepped back and took a deep breath because I was about to commit a crime. "I am going to give you something to be anxious about," I said. "What about the daycare appointment?" I asked at me blankly, "What daycare appointments?" He said the appointment we had waited 7 months for the whole reason he was supposed to be driving her somewhere in the first place. Gone because he got distracted making diagram. "Did you even try the other doors before you started shoving coat hangers into the driver's side?" He looked me dead in the eyes with complete confidence and said, "Of course I tried all the doors. I'm not an idiot." I walked around to the passenger side, grabbed the handle, and the door swung open immediately because it had been unlocked the entire time. My husband's face went white. "You're right," I said. "You're not an idiot. An idiot would have eventually tried another door." I unstrapped my daughter, got in my car, and drove to the daycare evaluation 40 minutes late. They almost didn't see us that I begged, and they squeezed us in. Then I drove to my mother's house, and I didn't come back for 3 days.